I mentioned before that I took a lot of paperbacks with me in my bag and didn't read any of them. And the reason for that is because I was reading books that didn't reflect my environment or where I was or my experience up to that point. So I didn't have the motivation or the discipline really to sit down and read, because I'm trying to read books like 1984 and Crime and Punishment, and I'm looking around, I'm like, I'm reading about dystopian, Orwellian culture, and I'm looking around at the beach and forests and mountains and like it just didn't reflect where I was. So lesson 21 is read what reflects your experience. It sounds quite niche, but if you enjoy reading at home, then it's a habit that you should keep on top of when you're away. It's really good just to break up the day with reading, and it literally took me until by surf camp, again, it's becoming a theme, when Maylee gave me The Body Keeps Score. Now, this is more kind of a book that I would read normally. It's a psychology book, non-fiction, and yeah, I flew through it. I took it to Lombok with me. I took it on the Komodo trip. I probably read it cover to cover in about 2 weeks, and that was more reading I'd done in 10 months up until that point. And yeah, that kind of just kick-started it for me again. I bought Letters to a Stoic, and what did I buy for that? I think Homo Deus as well. Like books I actually wanted to read. And I felt that I was enjoying travelling more because my mind was where it was supposed to be. I was doing everything I was doing at home. By now I was stacking everything with journaling and running. And I was on top of my habits that I would do at home. And it meant that I was getting the most out of every day while I was travelling. Like if you've got these things that you do and you've got this structure and routine, you want to keep it as much as possible when you're away. So it's not just reading. It could be other things that you do at home. But if you are a big reader, then definitely, don't feel obliged to read anything. Like read things, if you're going away somewhere, like read a nice book. Read The Power of Now, The Alchemist, I really like. And probably take a Kindle. I think I regret not taking a Kindle. I was very, very arrogant, and I thought, I want to take these paperbacks, and I was very stubborn, thinking, I like the ego of having all my books on my bookshelf. And I was like, I don't need a Kindle, I'll be fine, I'll carry my paperbacks around, But at the end of the day, it just meant that I read less. So if you've actually got a Kindle, you can pull it out any time. It's just easy to, to pick up. And it's quite uncommon that you'll probably have like an hour or two interrupted every day when you're doing all these crazy things. But if you've got a Kindle, you can pick it up 20 minutes here and there, and you'll probably end up reading more. So I definitely should have done that. Don't be stubborn like me. Get a Kindle if you're a big reader. And yeah, like I said, read what reflects your experience. So from basically my whole life, I've never had any interest in motorcycles or bikes at all. Absolutely did not interest me. I didn't care. I thought they were dangerous. I thought they were stupid. I thought, bro, just drive a car. And then I got to Bali, right? And in Bali, you get Grab like Uber, but you get Grab bikes as well. And I thought, no, there's no way I'm going to take a Grab bike. What a stupid risk. I don't want to be another statistic, tourist, fatality on a bike. It just wasn't worth the risk. I thought, I can walk about everywhere, that's fine. But one day I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to get one. It's cheaper, I'm budget travelling, I'm saving money, we'll just do it. So I got on the bike, and bro didn't even give me a helmet. I think they do now, which is good, but at the time, this was March last year. And I get on the bike, and he's driving me through Uluwatu, down these different paths, and I'm feeling the wind in my face, I'm looking around at the scenery, I'm thinking you've got that kind of adrenaline on the back of your bike. All I was thinking in that moment was at any given moment, this bike could crash and I could die. That is what I was thinking. And for whatever reason, I decided from that moment that I was going to learn how to ride scooters. And so lesson 22 is the sooner you can ride a scooter, the better. If you're in Southeast Asia, there is just no better way of getting around, seeing the scenery, having like an activity that's fairly cheap, like motorcycle hires. If you get like a 125cc, you're paying a few quid a day. Like it's really not. Fuel's cheap as chips, literally probably cheaper than chips. Yeah, I was paying not even £1 maybe to fill up in Thailand. So yeah, obviously if you don't have a license and you've never ridden before, that is a problem. That is a problem I had. And places like Thailand will fine tourists when you go through certain checkpoints, and they will check that you've got an international driver's license. And to get that international driver's license, you need to have a motorcycle license at home. If you don't have that, you can just pay them 1,000 baht, and then that'll keep you going for the next 3 days, and you'll be fine. I was pretty lucky I didn't get caught. But yeah, the sooner you can ride, the better. So start in a location that is fairly quiet. You don't want to be on these busy roads. Indonesia, Yogyakarta, that was a pretty tough challenge. I think I got quite competent on the bikes after that, but I started in Cambodia, in Koh Rong, and yeah, we just rode the bikes, rode them around the island. There was barely any traffic. And it was good just having a little feel for the bike, and I had someone on the back as well, so that kind of disrupts the weight. It's actually easier when you're on your own. But then it meant from then on, whenever I got on a bike, I felt fairly confident. So yeah, that your ability just to explore different places, like it just unlocks a whole new realm of opportunity. So the sooner you can ride, the better. There are some tips, like obviously when you're just starting off, like obviously don't throttle it too much. I remember when I first rode in Bali, I was in a boot, and the roads were not great. There was quite a lot of traffic. It was chucking it down as well. So I didn't have a lot going in my favour. And I remember not being able, like, I didn't know you had to walk with it. So like whenever you're like taking off, getting to acceleration, you want to keep your weight distributed. You kind of want to waddle along the floor until you're going forward. Then you put your feet like up. But I wasn't doing that. My weight was distributed unevenly. And whenever I just throttled the acceleration, I would like go off in one direction. And yeah, that could have been bad. I remember revving it and not being able to stop. So yeah, don't do that. Make sure you're accelerating slowly, and once you're going, you'll probably be fine. So yeah, get confident. Like, don't think, okay, bikes, they're dangerous. They're only really dangerous if you are an idiot. Like, if you're incompetent and you can't do things, then yeah, fine, it's probably dangerous. But if you're not driving like an idiot, you're not overtaking people, you're not going 100 miles an hour down these roads where you can't see what's coming around the corner. Like, if you are competent, then you will be fine. And like I said, the sooner you can ride, the better. You will enjoy your trip so much more. I feel so gutted that I missed out on basically the whole of South Thailand riding, Vietnam and Cambodia except for Koh Rong, because I wasn't a competent rider. And okay, yeah, you get on the Hai Giang Loop and you're going around all these different turns. I think I could probably ride it. I know that's quite a big, I know that the Hai Giang Loop is dangerous to ride and tourist dives and whatever, but I think once you get competent enough, if you're not riding like an idiot, you'll be okay. So I think if I was to do it again, I would try and ride it myself. Probably should get my international driver's license first. So yeah, step one, ride a bike. So yeah, lesson 22, the sooner you can ride, the better. It's a good way to meet people as well. If you're just chucking Hostel World Chat, anyone want to go ride bikes around the area, people probably want to do that. And again, if you're a beginner, it's good to have people around you. If you did have a fall, there's people to help you. So yeah, sooner you can ride, the better. Following on from lesson 22 is lesson 23. Wear a helmet, you helmet. Right? Because people think, right, you see this all the time in Thailand, Bali, wherever, right? People get a scooter and they just leave the helmet in the underpartment and they think they're riding around, they've got loads of water and they've got the AirPods in and they've got the music. Like, you are an idiot. You're actually an idiot. You will be a statistic on the international news, right? Like English tourists in Bali, crashes and like that will be you. And I will tell you firsthand why I will always wear a helmet, no matter the situation. I was doing the Mae Son Loop with Mac, right? We talked about Mac earlier. He's a good boy, but we were riding around the Mae Son Loop, and he's a competent rider. I mean, he's got a motorcycle license. He was on a 300cc manual bike, not one of these manual automatic scooters. I was on like a 155 Yamaha X Max. Does the job for me. But Matt was on a big machine, and we've been riding for about 3 or 4 days. So we know the roads, we know how to ride, we're doing a thing, and we're coming around a corner on the way back to Pai, and I just see he's in front of me. I just see his bike wobble a little bit, and all of a sudden it happened so quick I can't even remember what happened. But the next thing I know, his bike's on the floor and he's under his bike, and I'm thinking, right. So I pull over. Luckily, there's no cars coming the other side, but the priority was like, get him off the road. I said, Mackie, you're right. He said, yeah, right, he's alive, he's conscious, fine. Can you move? He said, I can, but my leg's stuck under the bike. I said, right, 3, 2, 1, lifted the bike off him. He got out on the way. He said, oh, can't believe I did it. I'm a kook, bro. Like, I can't believe I'm a kook that the crash is a bike, bro. Great Aussie accent. And yeah, it was like, how did I crash? I said, oh, I don't know, mate. You've just come around the corner. Like, it wasn't your fault or anything. He said, am I insured on the bike? Do you know? I said, oh, I'll find out for you. Like, let's just come out the way of the road. So we move out the way, sits down. I'm thinking, right, what are we going to do? I said, are you all right to ride? He said, yeah, I'll be fine, man. Oh, but by the way, how did I crash? Okay, all right, I see what's happening now. He is not remember, and he would ask me the same question over and over again, probably 20 times. So that's when I called the ambulance, and yeah, followed him back to Mae Hong Son, stayed overnight in hospital. He was concussed. We got all the tests done, the brain scan. It was absolutely fine. And in the morning, he was all right. The day after, the morning after, we were riding again in Mae Hong Son. Absolutely fine. But in the moment, I was thinking, we're in big trouble. Luckily for Mac, right, he was wearing a big helmet, right? Not like these stupid scooter helmets that you get, right? If I crashed, I probably would have been in big trouble. But like a proper, protective helmet, and that might well have just saved his life. Like the impact that he came down, hitting the concrete, that concussed him through a big helmet. Imagine if he wasn't wearing that. I don't even want to think about it. So, guys, it's not worth it. It doesn't matter whether you're doing a small trip, whether you're going fast. Like we weren't even doing that. We were probably going 40 kilometers an hour, maybe. Not that fast at all. But yeah, do not be an idiot. Do not risk your life for something so stupid, especially, and this is a competent rider with a motorcycle license. You probably don't have one. Don't be stupid. Wear a helmet, your helmet, and that is the best way to ride scooters in Southeast Asia. Lesson 24, Bali belly isn't real. Right, I've already made a video about Bali belly before, but Bali belly is an Indonesian psyop to get tourists to spend more money in expensive restaurants, and that fear that they put in them, don't eat the local food, go and spend £10 more every meal on a fancy restaurant. Guys, you don't need to do that. If you are not drinking the tap water, which you shouldn't be, drinking bottled water, avoid ice in your drinks, and don't eat salad, and I think the main thing is food that's been left out for a while. Like if it's freshly cooked local food, that is more healthy for you than some of the slop that you're getting at these restaurants anyway. Like some of these fast food places. You go to 7-Eleven and you're getting you think that's better for you than the freshly cooked local food, which is probably cheaper as well. Bali belly is a psyop. It's an absolute joke. And okay, yeah, people get diarrhea in Bali? Yes, they do. But you can get that anywhere else, right? You don't hear about Vietnamese belly, right? But that happened. That happened to me, and we're going to talk about that later. It's not real. You're going to waste your money spending in expensive restaurants for absolutely no reason. And it puts people off Indonesian local food, which is probably, arguably, some of the best food there. I think Thai is probably number one. Packer Proud does. We're going to make a video about that. But Indonesian food's unbelievable. You got your nasi goreng. You got your, what did I have? Some kind of chicken dish. It was really good. I can't remember the name of it, like talawang, so I don't know. But if I wasn't eating local food in Indonesia, I would have missed out so much. And I did, basically, my first 2 weeks in Bali at the start of the trip, pretty much avoided local food. Took me a good few months into the trip till I was confidently eating local food and was okay and not scared anymore. Like, just don't be scared. Like, it's fine. Like, you can take your Activate charcoal if you want. I don't think that does anything. But the main thing is avoiding the tap water. And if you're eating food that is freshly cooked and it hasn't been left out, sitting there, marinating in bacteria, you'll be fine. So, yeah, do you hear about the odd traveller that gets Bali belly? Like, it's not specific to, but as soon as you get into Bali, the food doesn't just have like an aura of disease. It doesn't work like that. It's just food. It's food in location. And if you're in South Bali, like you're in a touristy place anyway, the hygiene standards are a bit better. Obviously, have your wits about you, see how they're cooking the food. Is it fresh or has it just been, left out? Like, you've got to use your own judgment here, but just the fact that Bali belly, people will actually not eat local food in Bali or Indonesia because they're scared of Bali belly. Like, it is an absolute joke. It is a psyop, and I completely disagree with it. Do not be scared of local food in Indonesia. There is nothing to worry about. You will be okay. And if you do somehow get ill from it, we've got tips to cover that as well. So, Bali belly is not real. Speaking of Bali belly, if you were just to eat local food once in a restaurant where you don't check the reviews, you don't look at who's there, because I did that a lot, right? I would profusely check the reviews, check the menu, make sure it's like a legitimate restaurant that like tourists go to and it's well known, and that meant that the food was safe, right? That was my mindset. But at the end of the day, if you just eat local, some of the best food comes from restaurants with absolutely no reviews, or reviews that are only in Indonesian or whatever the language is. It is some of the best food, but for some reason we're scared to think, oh, I'll just eat in that restaurant that absolutely no one's gone to before. Like, they are the hidden gems, and when you're in places, in like these rural places, like they are the best food is there. people that don't speak English, the menu's not in English. This is where you find the gem. So the lesson for lesson 25 is just one time, eat in a restaurant with no reviews, with not an English menu. It will change how you travel, because no longer will you walk past a local restaurant and go, I'm not going to eat there, I'm going to go and eat in the tourist place, right? When you're out, and sometimes when you're out and about, if you're in Mae Hong Son doing you haven't got a choice, right? It's only local food. It's only, and you learn to pick out the best ones, and you can kind of get a vibe and a tell when you're walking past a place. Oh, that looks like a good one. Mac had a great detector on this. Mac don't miss. Whenever we walk past a local place, he said, right, that's the one. We're going to that one. We're going there, 10 out of 10, every time, right? Now, on the odd occasion, will you get some food that isn't great? Yes. Will you get portions that are too small? Yes. There's always exceptions to the rule. But if you just eat local food in a restaurant with no reviews once, it will open your perspective. It will expand your horizon so much. It will open a world of possibilities. Just do it once. You'll be fine. Eat local food in a restaurant without the reviews. Lesson 26. Tours are overpowered. Right? They're OP. They are not the best way to travel, but definitely my favourite. And if you've never travelled before, sometimes it is just nice to fly to a place you've never been to, meet a bunch of people you never met, and you're going to have a guaranteed time between 3 and 5 weeks, right? You don't have to worry about logistics, you don't have to worry about booking accommodation or being lonely or planning an itinerary. Like all like the not fun stuff travelling. Well, some people enjoy that, but I don't know why, you're weird. All the not fun stuff in travelling is taken care of. You just pay the money up front and you're having a guaranteed good time. So I'm talking about tour. I'm referring to companies like True Travels or Ultimate, where you pay them. There will be a tour guide employed by that company, and they will organise everything. They organise a group of people between around 20-ish, give or take, and you'll meet on day one. And then the tour guide's responsible for kind of getting you around places. So let's say you're in Australia starting in Sydney. They'll then organise the itinerary for Sydney and then show you the overnight bus to Byron Bay, get on the bus with you, take you to the like it's all, or anything logistic wise is completely taken care of. And it just makes travel so easy. And I'm not saying that this is the only way to travel, and you definitely should go and do your own thing at some point. But mate, those 5 weeks are absolutely unbelievable. Some of my best moments of the whole trip were on tour with the boys. And yeah, it just takes out a lot of that fear and uncertainty you might have if that could be the difference between you and going. So you might be thinking, oh, what if I'm lonely? What if I don't make friends? Mate, if you just get out there and go, you realise how good tour proves to you how good travel can be. Like when you go and have the best 5 weeks ever, you think, wait, I could just do that myself. I can replicate tour. I can take a bit of a leadership role when I'm out travelling, organise a group of people together and go and do it without paying like a third party. But it just opens your eyes to how good it can be and how much it's fun just to be around a group of people you don't know, like it is. And by the end of the tour, you're already good friends. And yeah, tour's good, man. So the next few points are going to be specifically about tour. And yeah, it's still relevant to travel, but mainly about tour. So yeah, it's good, man. So obviously a lot of positives being on tour, which we will talk about, but there are a lot of negatives too. And the next few points are going to be addressing those and overcoming them. So something that should be a negative, you can turn it into a positive. So the first one is being disciplined with alone time. Obviously we're on tour, we're around people all the time, and it is intense. You are traveling together, you're on a transfer with these people, and then you're physically going to the hostel together, you're around each other all the time, you're in dorms with your tour group, and then you're going out in the evening together. Like, there is actually not a time where you're on your own unless you force it. Unless you physically go out of your way, guys, like, leave me alone, I'm going to go for a run, I'm going to go sit somewhere and eat on my own. Like, even if you're just chilling, having breakfast in the kitchen, someone from your group will come and sit next to you. Like, and like, they should, like, you're together, like, you're on a tour, and it's nice, and it's so, but I'm just saying, be disciplined with alone times. Like, it's important to have that time to yourself, that time to reflect. And yeah, I remember in Brisbane, there was a day where we were a group of 26 and 25 of them went to the zoo in Brisbane, and I just chose to have a day on my own. I thought, I'm not too fussed about the zoo. I'm probably going to see a lot of animals in the wild in my trip. I just need a day to myself. And that was the highest return on investment of my time I could have possibly used. Because it meant this was about halfway between the tour now. And I was recharged, I was ready to go. I went to like some calisthenics park in the middle of Brisbane City, just chatting to some random guys. And yeah, I had a great time. I was recharged, the group came back, we went out. It was amazing. Like, I don't regret that at all. And yeah, I found my rhythm would be get up early, journal. This was the Philippines, I didn't learn this in Australia, but get up, journal, eat breakfast when anyone's up, and then go for a run in the evening before everyone goes for dinner. Like those were my two anchors and things that I needed and things that made me enjoy tour more that I wish I'd done in Australia. And yeah, New Zealand I was running every morning before everyone was up. And I think a lot of people will feel like they're missing out on something, like they don't want to make that time for themselves because I know they're missing a group breakfast, or people are going surfing and they don't want to miss out, or if they're going for drinks and they get, like, guys, you're always missing out on something. There's always something you could be doing. There's always something to do. There's always options, which means you can't do everything. But if you make that time for yourself, it will make your trip so much better. And this does carry over to off tour as well. But we're talking specifically about tour because you are going to be around people most of the time. And yeah, like I said, that intentional hour of being on your own is the highest return investment that you can get. So if you're going to be enjoying tour the most, be disciplined with that alone time and do not feel bad. Lesson 28 is bring people together. Right? There's something so special about being the one, being the person that manufactures the social environment. Like, you're not just a follower, you're not just waiting for things to happen. You go and make things happen. And this will relate to Inside World as well when we get to it. But tour's such a great opportunity to demonstrate that, to demonstrate your ability to just go and like bring people together, organise things. In the Philippines, there was a girl called Becca, and she had this pack of tarot cards, right? And I was like, I don't believe in that. I don't care. She's doing readings. I'm like, I ain't getting involved with that. But I'm watching some of the readings, some of the people, and there's absolutely no way she could have known these things. And they're coming accurate, and people are saying, oh, no way, like, that's actually quite relevant, like, to my situation. And one that I knew about, I was like, okay, that's a bit weird. So I thought, I'll get mine done, you know, just to prove her wrong, just to prove my stance that tarot cards is a load of rubbish. And we're sitting in the Philippines, having breakfast, and, you know, people around stealing the cards. Well, this means that, and that means that, and you've got, like, 9 of cups, which means something, you've got options, and you've got this and that. And I'm like, wait, hang on, this is getting a bit weird now. Right, but anyway, the point is, it was something that brought everyone together. Like, we'd sit down in the evening, and everyone get the tarot done, read, and something to talk about. And yeah, I don't know, it was just nice that people were able just to come together. It doesn't have to be tarot, you know, it can be anything. Just a random pack of cards, or a random game you've got, or just create something out of thin air. Like, again, it all just comes back to being like the social glue between all these people. I think it's really good. If you can play guitar, I mean, that's it. Like, you're the guy automatically. But I came back from travelling, I was like, right, I've got to learn how to play Wonderwall on guitar now. Like, I have to be that idiot in the hostel to go and play Wonderwall. So, yeah, like, if you're the creator of that energy, you're the one that can just create something from nothing. And I think, yeah, there's something really special about that. Something that I wish I did more. And I think the only time I kind of demonstrated this kind of energy was in Indonesia. It was on the Komodo Island boat tour. As we would stop off at different islands on the beach, I would like race some of the people on the tour. So like some of these, I don't think they were Indonesian. They were on our boat tour though, and we'd do sprinting, running races. So we'd run, and then the winner stays on. So you know, if I won a race, someone else would challenge me and would run, and we kept going until I lost basically. And then the show was over. I don't want to play anymore. But yeah, it's just fun. Like, you know, going out to people, organising football matches on the beach. Like, yeah, I can't really describe it any more than that. Being the one to make things happen and creating those moments of social fluidity. Lesson 29 is prepare for clicks. Right? I didn't even know what a click was before I started tour. This is just the terminology they're using. But I was in two minds because, first of all, if you've paid money, and tours are a lot of money, you have the right to spend time with whoever you want. Right? If you're in a group of 26 people and you like 3 of them, you have absolutely all the right in the world to be like, right, I'm going to hang around with you boys. Everyone else can do their own thing. Like that's a right. You've paid money to spend time with the people that you like. But then the alternative to that is tour is more fun when everyone gets involved. And also, what if someone doesn't fit in? Like, what if there are people in the group that aren't becoming into these cliques, or they just don't feel like they fit in? Like, what? You're just going to leave everyone out? So I'm definitely in two minds about it. And I had this in New Zealand because there was kind of 2 different groups. There was only 2 boys on the tour and 8 girls. So it was kind of 2 different girl groups plus the other guy. And I kind of felt like I didn't fit into either one. They make an effort with me and everything, but it just felt like I wasn't on the same wavelength, the same frequency. I remember going to a thermal bath in somewhere in New Zealand. I don't remember any of the places. And I was listening so hard to their conversation, like trying to say something of substance to join in. And it was just like I was on a different frequency. Like, I was hearing what they were saying, but it just wasn't. I don't know. I've got nothing to say. It was weird. It was really weird. And yeah, that's going to happen. Like, you're going to find yourself either in groups where you're speaking a different language, or outside of it. And I think that the point is just prepare for that. Like you can't really do anything about it. And the other side to that would be, you know, when I was in the Philippines, we were a group of 4. Like I had 3 people that we kind of did our own thing together. We decided we didn't want to go to the group dinners anymore together. Too expensive, and you know, you got to sit and you got to wait for everyone to eat the food. And so we just said, like, we'll just do our own thing. Like we're entitled to do that. And even the tour guide was like, guys, why aren't you coming to the dinners together? Like trying to make us feel bad. I didn't feel bad. I was like, we're going to do our own thing. And yeah, I think that's fine too. So I'm definitely in 2 minds about it. The point being, be prepared for cliques. Either way. Like whether you find a group you like, that's fine. But if you go on tour and you know what, you end up doing your own thing. Look, you're a solo traveller anyway. So just go and see what happens. Don't be too stubborn about anything. You'll be fine. Also, a parallel point on this is that day 0 matters. Kind of. So in the Philippines, we all met as a group. Like the people that were in Manila before the tour started met on day 0. So the tour was starting in Manila the next day. We met the night before. We went and watched midget boxing. And we ended up being the 4 that kind of stuck together throughout the tour. So I'm not sure if it would have worked like that anyway, or whether that moment was like, okay, we are the 4 that click and we're going to then do our own thing. I don't really know. But having said that, I kind of joined tour late in Australia. There were people that knew each other from Sydney in a week, and I joined as a bombshell, and I was absolutely fine. I didn't feel like I was being left out or anything. Like we kind of made friends and integrated with the group. I actually prefer it. I actually like it. I think I might do a tour one day where I just come in late deliberately just to cause a bit of mayhem. So it don't really matter. Day zero matters kind of, that's a parallel point, but the main thing is prepare for cliques and don't be annoyed if you don't find anyone, because you will. If you travel long enough, you will find friends. If you're a nice person, you will find friends. If you travel for a year, you don't make any friends. I don't have any advice for you. Go and read a book or sort yourself out, mate. But so lesson 30 is just as relevant to the rest of your trip as it is to tour. But I think it's hyper specific to tour because you have the best chance to demonstrate it since you're surrounded by so many people all the time. And it's funny because tour feels like one big social experiment, right? You're with all these people, you become very observant, right? You watch who interacts with who, and you learn a lot about other people, you learn a lot about yourself from how you act. But the most important thing is lesson 30, which is be yourself. And it sounds quite wishy-washy, it sounds quite vague, so I'm going to save the perspective shift and mindset side of it for the inside world, but now we're going to break down the practical elements of being yourself. What does that actually mean? People say all the time, always be yourself. Like, what does that actually mean? And I think the highest leverage action you can do, which means you will be yourself right now, is say what you mean. If you just said what you mean and you did nothing else, but every single word out of your mouth was exactly what you meant, that is being yourself. And right, at the end of the day, right, you're on tour. People are going to talk, right? You put a bunch of 19 to 30 year olds on an island with nothing else to do except talk about other people. What are they going to do? They're going to talk about other people. And you just have to be okay with it. Like whatever you do, people are going to talk. You'll end up getting roped into talking about people. And I think it's so much better to be judged for who you actually are than who you pretend to be. So, and it's easy to drift into being someone you're not, right? There are so many opportunities to be a people pleaser, right? To say things to people that you don't mean to people you don't know. That is the definition of people pleasing. And you don't want that, right? And tour's a good opportunity to forget that completely and be the real you. And the main thing is this. What you want to know about yourself is who am I when ... Who am I when people are arguing? Who am I when it's all kicking off? You know, do I go in instead, or do I sit there and enjoy it and think, oh, you know, go on, he's going to fuck up? You know, do I step in and resolve the conflict? Who am I when people are being left out? Do I just sit there and think, oh, it's all right, I've got my friends, or do I try and involve people? Who am I when I hurt someone? Who am I when I actively do something that causes someone harm? Do I go and apologise, or I just pretend it didn't happen? Like, who am I in all these situations? And what people mean by finding themselves travelling, we're going to talk about that later. But this is what they mean. They know how they act in these situations because they've been in them before. Lesson 30, be yourself.